Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this tropical update for Tuesday, May 31st. We have an area of interest near the Yucatan right now associated with the remnants of Hurricane Agatha from the Eastern Pacific, as we have been discussing these past few days. That system has now moved near Guatemala, the Yucatan Peninsula, making its way towards western Cuba, Florida, and the Bahamas. Here is a more zoomed in look at that area of interest, as we see very disorganized but large area of thunderstorm activity and convection, very broad rotation, if any, at this point in time. And so, of course, we don't have a tropical cyclone, but there is a lot of convection in the area. It's organized enough, and the models are hinting at it enough that it has caught our attention. The good news is that some of the things I've been talking about earlier, like a hook into the Atlantic coast, are now seeming less likely. It's a pretty straight shot, basically. So if you were to draw a line from the Yucatan Peninsula through a little bit of western Cuba, through probably the Florida Keys, South Florida, and then out towards Bermuda, is about the path that this storm is going to take. Let's take a look at the probabilistic forecast from the National Hurricane Center here. 70% chance formation within the next 5 days, 40% chance within the next 48 hours. That's due to it being over land for the next 48 hours over the Yucatan Peninsula and portions of western Cuba. By that time, though, conditions are going to become more favorable with the storm over the warm waters of the Gulf, making its way towards Florida, where it could be a tropical depression or a tropical storm, and we'll continue to monitor that as that does occur by Friday or Saturday. Friday or Saturday, it's going to make its way towards Florida and then move to the other side of Florida, where conditions will be much more favorable for development, and it could certainly reach tropical storm strength. Then could certainly, I know I used that together, that's very confusing, but there's a fairly good confidence, according to most of the models at this point, that this storm does reach tropical storm strength on the other side of Florida. It's still a question, though, if it reached tropical storm strength before it makes landfall in South Florida. Although the way things have been going in the Atlantic, I wouldn't be surprised if it reached tropical storm strength while it's crossing Florida. So anyways, that's what we have with this area of interest. Remember, it'll get a new name if it gets named, and it'll continue through the Gulf later this week. By the middle of this week, and the later part of this week, we'll really be watching it over the Yucatan and Florida. And then as it heads into the weekend, over Florida and the Bahamas will be a concern. Mainly a rainfall threat. Wind won't be huge with this one. Remember, it's early in the season. Nothing's too crazy yet. So we could see some tropical storm watches. Probably a low-end tropical storm is what I'd say is worst case at the moment for Florida. But then again, it's hurricane season and anything can happen. So if you're in the Keys, if you're in South Florida, western Cuba, portions of the northern Bahamas, stay tuned to this system because it could have some impacts heading your way this weekend. So that's what we have right now. Remember, just stay tuned on this one. We could have our first U.S. impact system here shortly. And so we'll continue to monitor that as time goes on. One thing I just can't not talk about on the satellite image, you see very strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms even bubbling across the central and southern plains across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. And you can really see those firing today on the satellite image. So I figured it's worth pointing out before we wrap up this update. So that's all I have for now. Remember, keep an eye on this area of interest heading towards South Florida. For those in those bubbling convections areas in Oklahoma and surrounding areas, you're under enhanced risk of severe weather this evening. Severe thunderstorm watches are in effect. Your main threat today is going to be severe wind and severe hail, especially over the western portion of Oklahoma. So again, lots of things going on today. But since this is a tropical update, we mainly focused on that area of interest. But if you're in Oklahoma, as sure several of you are, just be sure to continue to stay weather aware this evening. That's all for now. Chris Sixton Info, Weather Catholic Media.